And welcome again to Cooking with Generoso and Lily. I'm Generoso.
I'm Lily.
Hello. And this week we're going to make one of Lily's favorites. I know she's always loved this, is chicken cacciatore. And one of the things I love dispelling for people are the Italian names always sound so phenomenal. Like pasta fagioli is just pasta with beans, and chicken cacciatore is just Hunter's chicken. Doesn't mean it's anything less than phenomenally delicious. And we're going to show you how to make it. It's a very, very easy dish, as I always say. With Italian food, it always comes down to ingredients, and I try to use really nice ingredients. Let's take a look at them, shall we? So about 8 ounces of nice white mushrooms. You can use baby bellas, but they had a great sale on white mushrooms, and those are wonderful. 1 whole yellow onion, a can of pureed tomatoes, a wonderful giant bunch of garlic and cloves. We're going to use a bunch of these from the Raffi estate, so thank you, Bob Raffi and Cherry. Some black pepper, salt, oregano, and a red wine. So my mom would use Chianti. Again, like the Marsala, don't go out and spending crazy money on wine to make chicken cacciatore. You want to use just a nice house table red, a nice hearty red.
What kind did you get?
We had to get a lovely bottle of Sangiovese from the Siena in Italy, and I think you will absolutely love it. And it's a very reasonably priced bottle. I paid $7.99 for it. It's totally fine for what we're going to use it for. A bottle of olive oil, regular, doesn't have to be extra virgin. And I got 4 chicken wings, nice, fresh, beautiful chicken wings. As far as equipment, a couple cutting boards, some knives for chopping, and a slotted spoon. That we're going to use in very early stages of making this dish. So very shortly we're going to show you how to get everything good and hot and ready to cook. Okay, so Lily has been kind enough to help me with the prep work. We have taken the 8 ounces of mushrooms and cut them into nice thin chips. We've taken our 1 yellow onion and we've minced it down to some fairly small spots. We took of the garlic 2 giant cloves, and I mean giant, Bob, thank you very much, and cut it down, minced it down into that area. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the frying pan, and you're going to need a big one of these, because these are some really big legs. Start the heat at a little bit above a medium. Get your olive oil, and really get a close-up of this, Lily. You want to really cover the bottom in olive oil. Don't be shy. And you want that to warm up considerably. And if you watched our video on veal marsala, the basic prep for chicken marsala is going to be the same. We're going to take our onions and our mushrooms and we're going to brown them in this oil. And then we're going to take the onions and mushrooms off before we put the chicken in. And again, the purpose for this is so that the onions and the mushrooms flavor the oil. And then we're going to add the chicken to that, the wine, and let that slow simmer. But we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. This is actually still warming up. And in about another 20 seconds, we are going to add our mushrooms and onions. Okay, so it's been about, 5 or 6 minutes. And as you can see, the mushrooms and the onions have nicely browned. Not too brown, because we're going to put them back into play in not too long a time.
And that mixture is only mushrooms and onions, right?
Right. The garlic that we minced doesn't go in until like midway through the cooking of the chicken with the tomatoes, because we don't want that garlic to burn, actually. And that's the other reason why we're about to do this. So we're going to take our slotted spoon, because we want to keep all that beautiful oil inside the pan. And we're going to take out as much as our onions and mushrooms as we can. There's always going to be little tiny pieces of them floating in the pan. But the purpose of this, again, is now this oil has that really nice taste of the mushrooms and the onions for our chicken, which we're going to put in just a little bit. And we're going to also add a little bit more olive oil to this mixture, because chicken is thirsty, isn't it, Lily?
It's very thirsty.
So take a look in the pan. We've gotten rid of most of the onions and garlic. They exist now
As of late.
in this pan. Now we're going to take
Onions and mushrooms.
onions and mushrooms, I should say. And we're going to take our beautiful chicken, put it right in there. There's a little bit of a Tetris game that we're going to do now. We're going to get 5 very large chicken wings, 4, excuse me, into one pan.
Ta-da!
Which was amazing we've been able to do it. And we're going to start frying those up.
You want to hit them up with some more oil, right?
A little tiny bit of oil. And then you want to put the beginnings of your salt or pepper. Salt. And a bit of oregano. And that's going to fry for a little bit. We're going to cook this side, brown the other side lightly, and then we're going to add the wine.
Yay!
So now we're taking our bottle of Sangiovese. As you can see, I've had a couple glasses of it. It's really nice. And we're going to, I'm just kidding. But the Sangiovese, as you can see, I flipped the chicken, and it's been browning for about 3 minutes. Don't be stingy with the wine. It's going to cook off.
It's the most delicious part.
And it smells like, as Lily will point out, the onions and the mushrooms are still to the left. We've not reintroduced them. We're going to cover them for a little bit.
And you have not added the garlic yet, right?
No, the garlic is still sitting over there. We're punishing it. It doesn't get to do anything. But we're going to keep drinking some Sangiovese while this soaks up some of that beautiful chicken. Is very thirsty, so it's going to drink up all that beautiful Sangiovese.
Yeah.
And before we introduce the garlic and the tomatoes to it.
Yay!
1 glass of wine later for the chef, and 10 minutes with the chicken. And as you can see, it's been covered on medium heat, and it's taken a lot of the wine, and the chicken is browned very, very nicely. We put the heavy meat portion of the chicken down so you can really absorb all that wine. Now at this juncture, with all the beautiful wine, we're going to take our onions and our mushrooms and give them a little visit to the chicken. Then we are going to take our garlic and very, very nicely make sure it gets all over the chicken that's sitting in there now.
Should smell super delicious right now.
When the wine cooks down, Lily, and you add all this, so you have all this beautiful onions and mushrooms and garlic, and it's been cooking with the chicken fat and the red wine, and it's making such a lovely smell. We're only going to cook this like the way it is for about another couple minutes, and then we're going to add our tomatoes.
Yum!
Yum! It's been about 3 minutes since we filmed. The onions, garlic, and mushrooms are all stewing in really nicely. Now we will take our tomatoes. Add those in.
And you always want to use canned tomatoes for this, right?
I use fresh tomatoes. I just didn't have the use of fresh tomatoes tonight, but a good can of diced or pureed tomatoes is fine. Now this is going to sit on the chicken for a little bit. I can even use my setting spoon. Make sure you nice and spread them out so they cover the chicken completely. Add a bit more salt. Italians do not use measurements. You've seen what I'm doing. I am just being very, very good about aggressively hitting it with salt and pepper. Now if you look inside the actual frying pan, you're going to have that mix of the tomato water. There's going to be a little bit of the chicken fat. There's still obviously a little bit of the red wine that's cooking in here. Take a gander at the time. It's 7:40. What we're going to do is we're going to lower the temperature from where it is now, which is about medium, to a little under medium. And And we're going to cook this for at least the next 45 minutes and see where we're at. But on this nice low flame so that everything stews together. And then we're going to talk about where we go next. It has been well over 45 minutes, about 50 minutes. We're going to uncover this. And what you're going to see is something very beautiful. I flipped the chicken into 45 minutes twice so that the top and the bottom get equally cooked. But it's been stewing with its own fat, the tomatoes, the garlic, the onions, the mushrooms. I added maybe a teaspoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of pepper to the mix. And now I'm going to leave it uncovered for about the next 15 minutes so it cooks down even further. But then we're going to have our chicken.
Yum!
So what has happened since we last saw you is I cooked the chicken for about another 10 minutes and then I took it off of the fire for about another 10 so it's had a chance to sit and kind of ruminate inside of its own juices. And now we're simply going to take them out. A couple of beautiful legs. And we're going to add a little bit of the sauce inside the pan to this, but there you have it, my version of chicken cacciatore.